The man struck the drainage pipe once for every thunderclap outside, using the natural noise to mask the sound of his work and prevent the guards above from hearing. This large pipe was his only escape route. After more than a dozen attempts, he finally managed to break it open. Filthy water immediately gushed out, accompanied by an indescribable stench. But he didn't care. He immediately crawled into the disgusting pipe, moving toward the promise of freedom. Even though it was filled with the smell of sewage, he was determined to endure it. After all, he had spent nearly 20 years planning his escape from this prison. After emerging from the sewer, he ran toward the woods without wasting a moment. By the next morning, when the guards were taking attendance, they discovered that the prisoner in cell 245 hadn't come out.
Don't make me come down there, I'll thump your skull for you.
When no response came from the room, an angry guard rushed up, only to be dumbfounded when he found the cell completely empty. Meanwhile, the warden was about to put on his shoes when he heard the alarm. Immediately sensing something was wrong, he hurried to the cell. He began berating his staff. The prisoner had been present during last night's count, so how could he be gone now? Next, he ordered them to bring in the man's best friend, an inmate named Red. Since the two were always together, the warden figured the escapee must have told Red something before fleeing.
Also, warden, out of work.
The warden grew increasingly furious. This kind of incident had never happened since the prison was built. In his anger, he picked up a nearby rock and threw it at a poster on the wall. Surprisingly, it made an odd echo as it passed right through the poster, creating a small hole. As he moved closer to investigate, the warden reached in and tore down the poster, revealing an enormous hole in the wall leading directly outside the prison. Everyone was stunned. How had the man managed to dig such a passage? The guards immediately began a massive search with dogs, but after a full day, all they found was a nearly worn-out hammer and a tattered prison uniform. Even now, the guards couldn't believe that one man with just a small hammer had dug such a long tunnel. What they didn't know was that it had begun when the prisoner merely wanted to carve his name on the wall and accidentally discovered how easily the plaster came off. With his interest in geology, he immediately understood why the cement had severely deteriorated from years without maintenance. He instantly recognized this as his opportunity. From that day forward, whenever possible, he would chip away at the wall, using the poster as perfect cover. He would discreetly empty the cement dust from his pants during yard time. The hammer had been procured through Red, who had spent 20 years inside and knew how to get almost anything except the guard's keys. But even Red's connections couldn't prevent the occasional surprise inspection.